Hey everybody, my name is Rafael Polendo. I'm the Chief Creative Officer at KAATSU, and today I get the opportunity to interview Mark Campbell. Mark is a KAATSU user and a TRX Pro, and so we're excited to hear his story of how he uses KAATSU both for the performance and fitness side, but also for the rehab and recovery. So Mark, thanks for being here, and can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, Rafael, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. My name is Mark Campbell. I'm based out of Kansas City, Missouri. I am a fitness studio owner here. Core Strong Fitness is my studio. We do primarily TRX based fitness. And I've been running the studio, owning it for 10 years. And I've had a lot of different, modalities and things that we've gone through as far as adaptions or complementary things with the TRX. But yeah, we love body weight based mechanics and strength training as well as functional training.
Love it. Speaking our language.
Yeah.
So how did you first get introduced to KAATSU? How'd that come about?
Well, I've always had an interest in BFR training. A long time ago, I heard about a company that was performing education for BFR, and this was right before COVID. And so I opened up my studio to have them come in to train and put a certification on, and that never went through. And then a year later, unfortunately, I fell dislocated and broke my elbow while
Yikes.
climbing. I got a sweet scar to prove that.
Yeah.
And through that, I had a mentor, Chris Frankel, who was the head of human performance for TRX for a while. And he's like, hey, have you looked into BFR training for your elbow, for your arm, for recovery? And I was like, I'm familiar with it, but not too familiar. He goes, well, I have this brand that I really want you to look into. It's KAATSU. And the reason being is because of the cycling effect that KAATSU has. Instead of having a constant pressure, the cycling effect, you can put it on, you can use it while you're not doing anything, allowing for the occlusion of your blood, a little bit of muscle work going on there just through your daily activity. And then while you're going through your rehab, strengthening back again, using the KAATSU to help increase again the adaptation for muscular strength through that. So I was able to acquire a pair of the Cycle 2, so the older model of
Your OG.
the OG. So the connected tube, the analog or the digital sort of setup, no Bluetooth. And I started using them with the TRX in my own personal rehab because I was doing physical therapy through a company, but they're also like, well, we're going to work on range of motion for the first couple months. And then since you're a personal trainer, once we get to the strength side of it, you know what to do. So I was like, okay, cool. I mean, I've got the tools, the equipment, the knowledge, but progressive overload, how do I really start to get my body in a way for a joint injury to not overload the joint, right?
Yep.
And so through the TRX being a bit able to progress and regress your exercises, right? So I can kind of step into the challenge a little bit, but I really wanted more, knowing that progressive overload was the real key to success in creating stronger muscles. So the KAATSU with the cycling integrated into upper body strength work continued on for, I had a 3-day-a-week schedule that I continued from my mobility and just rolled that straight into strength. And I started strength training December 1st, which was my birthday. So I was cleared for that. And then by mid-January, I was back to climbing at probably 95%. And I boulder, so climbing without a rope.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's impressive. Had you had any injuries like that before that you had to recover from?
Not as severe. I've had some other broken bones injuries, but nothing that was major surgery required. I would love to say that's my only my only experience with KAATSU and injury. But because I like to climb, I continued good size. I continue to use KAATSU for helping increase my grip strength for a while as well, because as you know, climbing requires a lot of load on your fingers and your tendons and your joints. So if I'm trying to increase the strength, how can I do it without loading those joints as much. So I would throw the KAATSU on, go grab some, they're called grip blocks from that will attach to essentially kettlebell or weight, and I would just rep out a bunch of reps, hold,
Nice.
and then really pump out the forearms, and again increasing that grip recruitment strength
For
with
sure.
using KAATSU. So it went from this strength enhancement helping during a time where I couldn't load as much, and then once I got under the ability to load, like let's improve the climbing grip strength, so more specific side of that.
That's awesome.
And then but wait,
There's more.
There's more. 3 years later, I again was climbing, and you think I'd learned my lesson the first time? No, I decided that hey, let's go ahead and fall off the wall and tear my ACL, meniscus, partial MCL, LCL, and PCL tear. So
Yikes.
really big injury happening there. And through all of that, to be completely honest, hardest injury of my entire life I've ever had to come back from.
I've heard it's brutal. Yeah.
It's insane because it's a weight-bearing joint, and you don't ever. I'm still a year and a half out from surgery or the injury, and I don't fully trust my knee like I should. And you know, it's part of I think mental side of things to get back to. But with the strength side of it, we integrated the KAATSU. Oh my gosh, so I had surgery in March, and it was, you know, within the parameters that a PT was like, okay, you're healed up internally, decisions are ready to go. And we started doing KAATSU, integrating it into PT right away. And we used it everything from isometric holds to, high volume reps, low load, to using it as our kind of warm-up cycles, and even as a post-workout like volume builder. So we used it in a bunch of different ways that really kind of allowed, again, being more in a form of getting that progressive overload without trying to increase the weight, and get the distal joint really kind of just pumped full of blood and feeling like it was moving. I think I'm going to step back real quick. One thing I forgot to say is with the elbow, when I would use the KAATSU just cycling on my own, the increase in range of motion that I had after using the cycling effect was incredible, because I didn't realize the powerful effect of the occlusion of blood into that joint and the space that it created, but also because I had a ligament injury, that it was getting blood to that ligament and helping improve that slight elasticity and range of motion for that tissue as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, we've heard several reports of people who have undergone injuries or surgeries, and on the other side of it actually come out with improved cases, like even prior to the injury. So it's, you're definitely not alone in that.
I would vote to say that my right arm, so we could do like what's called a lock off. Like I can go up to that frame and hold myself at a 90 degree or above angle, or even try or attempt a one arm pull up, and I could do that way easier on my right side than I can my left side now. So
that's wild.
Improved strength and muscle recruitment, right? By trying to really focus in on that. So, still continuing out with my rehab, my own personal rehab for my ACL. I'm still integrating BFR and utilizing KAATSU for my own cycle, and just, again, more of a deload aspect, and not always doing heavy split squats or heavy back squats or anything that is really loading that joint beyond more than just its body weight and high volume and rep. And to me, those workouts tend to almost be just as, if not more, taxing than doing a high resistance workout, because the volume that is required or shown to be the most beneficial and the protocol of 30, 15,
Mhm.
15, 15
Mhm.
with the rep scheme is really a good way to feel like, wow, I got a lot done, without actually putting yourself under a bunch of load and making that joint move probably more than it wants to at that time with load.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's one of my follow-up questions to you, because I love that you're combining TRX with KAATSU, because again, it's flying in the face of this lift heavy, get big results, but utilizing just body weight and then using KAATSU to apply that quote unquote artificial load, that progressive overload. And so can you share a little bit more about kind of the unique benefits that you see with combining TRX with KAATSU, and how you've also used it with your own fitness clients and results they've seen and things like that?
Yeah, again, like knowing that the KAATSU has its place in the rehab or unhealthy side of fitness,
Mhm.
as we might kind of think about it. What does that look like when I've got a client who may be deconditioned, who's coming back from having a baby, who may be on the older side of just working out, looking at joint integrity and tissue integrity, as well as overall volume that we're trying to integrate somebody into a new workout regimen. My integration and use of KAATSU with these clients is in a scheme of like, okay, can I do heavy resistance training one day, and then the next session we're going to do more of an active recovery, still active loading with the KAATSU, again primarily focusing our use with the suspension trainer. And when we can have those things, we're trying, my thought is, can we get, again, basically 2 strength days without overtaxing somebody, so they can still get the hormonal response of 2 heavy lifting days without the actual taxation physically.
For sure.
So they can keep coming back or not feel like they've been run over. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah. I think when we're younger, it's a lot easier to go heavy, and then because you're younger, your body naturally bounces back quicker. But as I get older, I know recovery is where it's at, and it's I need that time for my body to rebuild and repair. And so being able for myself to utilize KAATSU in a way that I'm not creating such a taxation on my system, that I'm able to bounce back quicker. Again, as you get older, that's golden.
Yeah, I mean, being 41, I know more now than ever how important recovery is.
For sure.
At first, you're like, my nephew who's 25, I've had him use the KAATSU while doing a lot of upper body, because he's like, Mark, I want to grow my arms. How do I grow my arms? And I'm like, throw this on and do the lightest way you can at these reps. And to watch him over there in pain, I kind of laugh, but I'm like, hey, this is for your benefit. So when you're my age, you don't have a bunch of shoulder issues. So
and that's the thing. I know so many people around me who have lifted heavy, since they were 20, and they have great musculature, they're fit, but their body, there's just chronic pain, joint issues and things like that. And it's almost, for them, it's been a trade-off. And so trying to think, is there a way to maintain that muscle mass and grow that muscle mass in a way that doesn't wreck your joints, in a way that doesn't leave you in chronic pain and your body compromised? You may look great, you may be able to lift a lot, but if you're constantly in pain, it hasn't been worth it. And so I think that's definitely one of the keys to KAATSU and training with KAATSU. And I love the way that you're using it for your clientele. Have you, are there any particular stories or case studies or benefits that you've seen with your clientele that you're able to share?
Yeah. So we've got, like I was telling you about my 25-year-old nephew, like obviously his growth potential is pretty quick, but like
for sure,
the overall consensus of watching my clients watch him come in from what he was like 18 to 25, like this little boy that first came in now is a man. He's jacked, and part of that is because he did a lot of BFR KAATSU training with his body weight or lighter weight side of things to get to where he's at. And then I have the honor of training my aunt, who has a small cell neuropathy, and so she experiences a lot of different fatigue symptoms that happen within her legs and causing her to have less endurance and feeling less stable. she was working with a personal trainer for a while who was kind of doing the old school, like, let's lift heavy. We're going to, you know, really get a lot of muscle recruitment by going heavy. And I was like, let's try something. What happens if we actually test, again, kind of where you're at muscular wise, and then we do 1 day of heavy lifting, and then we do 1 day of KAATSU, or we do 2 days of KAATSU, and then we kind of just flip flop that. So with her, it's been a very interesting cycle of almost a year now to watch how her body responds physiologically as well as neurologically when undergoing KAATSU training of, you know, we'll do, let's say Monday is our heavy weight day. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sore. I'm so, you know, like everything you should expect. And then when we do KAATSU on Wednesday, you come back like, how's your legs? How are you feeling? Like, oh, they feel pretty good. They're not so heavy, not so, you know, fatigued. But the volume that we just did, in retrospect, should make somebody feel pretty sore. So for her, I'm like, okay, her body's probably going to respond a little bit better to having this higher volume with occlusion to get that response hormonally and neurologically stimulate these muscles without overstimulating the nerve, that we can start to, again, slowly build and enhance the muscle fiber that's there rather than trying to force that muscle fiber or force the nervous system to adapt too quickly to what's happening. So I've really been enjoying watching her and her improved endurance and her improved strength, because she also rides horses. And to see her go, oh my gosh, I did a saddle ride for 45 minutes today and I didn't have any fatigue, is a huge benefit and a huge testament to me of how important KAATSU training is for her, but also any individuals that are in a state that just need to be slowly walked into retraining, reacclimation, and strength training.
Yeah. And I was going to actually ask for someone in that spot, what advice would you have for them? What encouragement, you know, what could you share to kind of get them off the sidelines and into the game, so to speak?
I think the biggest thing that anybody wants to go, especially from my experience, is when someone comes to me like, Mark, I'm ready to start training. How do I do it? I'm ready to go 3 to 5 days a week, whatever you need, I'll do it. They're up here at a 10 because they're so sick of being out of shape, deconditioned, and pain that they're going to give everything that they want. But what happens is they start hard and then they crash hard, right? Because then they're too sore. They can't commit to that much time. They just feel overwhelmed. So I love the aspect, if someone is going to get into training who has been deconditioned for a while, that they seek out somebody who has experience or certifications with KAATSU, or in a way that is TRX certified, because that neurological, total body functional integration will go a lot further to making somebody functionally stronger and healthy for a lifetime as a lifetime athlete rather than a professional athlete, and really making their sustainable return or entry into working out. I've got a sidebar of a client who started with me 6 years ago, and she came to me like doing all the things I think she thought was right. And then I integrated a little bit of like, hey, do this. And then 6 years later, her progress is unbelievably amazing. And she's 45 years old, but it's the consistency and the progress that gets somebody to where they're going. So if they're constantly hitting something hard and then like, I'm too sore, or constantly, you know, not getting enough stimulus, then they don't feel like they're getting enough workout or not challenged enough. I think the KAATSU is a great implementation literally to anybody's regiment. Like I said, my 25-year-old nephew, or a 76-year-old who's like, hey, I haven't worked out because I've been focusing my entire career on building my business. Now what do I do? That's the perfect time to contact someone who is a professional not someone who got their certification from whatever website. And able to really work with someone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I like it. And again, those two keys: consistency and sustainability. That's golden. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. This has been great. Any last parting words of wisdom or thoughts you want to share with our audience?
I just think that the KAATSU device with its cycling is just being a sound like a promoter, but a superior product, because its ability to just put it on for anybody who is like, I want to sustain muscle mass, but I don't want to go do a workout. Well, I can cycle and go do housework. I can cycle and walk around. Like, it's not this unbelievably painful, constant pressure to a point of like, I've got too much occlusion, I don't have enough. And that device is just really hitting just the sweet spot. Especially now that I've upgraded to the C4 model.
Nice. Yeah.
What a night and day difference.
Yeah. A few other bells and whistles in that one.
A few other bells and whistles. Some touch point screens are really cool. I'll continue to use KAATSU for as long as I'm training, because I love its ability to deload, still work on strength, but also just use it in daily life.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks again for your time, and appreciate you coming and sharing what you're doing with KAATSU.
Yeah. Thank you, Rafael. Appreciate it.
Take care.
You too.